This week's Parsha of Metzora continues the story of the biblical leprosy, which is not the leprosy that we know of today. It's more of a punishment for moral sins, including slander. And one of the cures that the Kohen has, that we read about in this week's Parsha, is actually the use of ezov, which is translated in today as hyssop, and is the main ingredient in the za'atar that so many of us love to eat. We're also going to meet ezov in a few weeks because that is what is used as the paintbrush to put the blood on the door frames so that the Malach HaMavet, the angel of death, will pass over the houses during the real first Passover. In any event, what is the difference between today's leprosy, or what are the similarities between today's leprosy, what they call Hansen's disease, which is really a bacterial infection, and the biblical idea of leprosy? Both are contagious. Slander and speaking ill and destructive kinds of speech and criticism is very contagious, is very infectious, as is the bacterial infection of Hansen's disease. And therefore, both groups of people who have that need to be taken michutz lemachaneh. They need to be separated from everybody else. Now, behind me is a picture of Zion Gate of today, the modern Zion Gate taken from inside the old city walls. And here is the picture, or an etching of Zion Gate in the middle of the 19th century. And in the foreground is the leper colony, part of the leper colony of Jerusalem. It tells you how afraid people were to go outside the old city walls, that they even allowed the lepers to stay inside the old city. Thank God today we are back in the old city, inside the old city, and outside the old city, with the help of Hashem, Hinei lo yanum v'lo yishan shomer Israel, who's always watching from up high and protecting us, and Tzahal, who's always watching us on the ground. And we have to be so careful, though, because the sin of the spies that we are still suffering from today, the 9th of Av, that terrible day, and that generation that wasn't allowed to come into the land, is because they spoke ill of Eretz Israel. They spoke dibah. They slandered the land of Israel. So we need to be careful with our words, which is something that Tanakh is telling us strongly in these parashiot. Make sure that what we say is constructive criticism, not destructive criticism, both of our Am, of our families, and of our land. Shabbat Shalom from Yerushalayim.